Happy Liberation Day to all Rwandans here home and around the world. Today we pay tribute to the men and women who exemplified the highest values of patriotism and sacrifice for Rwanda.
This is particularly what makes our bulletin tonight. President Paul Kagame has reiterated that what Rwandans have achieved over the past 28 years speaks volumes and is self-explanatory, and that it has changed Rwanda's reputation on the international scale.
And again, President Paul Kagame has commended the courage of the Ghanaian soldiers who were posted in Rwanda back in 1994 as part of the UN mission in the country.
The government of Rwanda has commended Nyaruguru residents for their collaboration with the Rwanda Defense Force in preserving the security and the sovereignty of the country.
You're watching RTV News. I am Isabel Masozera with my colleague
Sam Kalisa, and welcome to our tonight's edition. And as we kick it off to our top story tonight, President Paul Kagame has reiterated that what Rwandans have achieved over the past 28 years speaks volumes and is self-explanatory, and that is what has changed Rwanda's reputation internationally. The head of state made the remarks on Monday in an exclusive interview with RBA on the occasion of celebrating 28th anniversary of Rwanda's liberation. We have the story. The 28th anniversary of Rwanda's liberation comes as the country celebrates its 60th independence anniversary from the Belgian rule. In an exclusive interview with the RBA, President Paul Kagame noted that both days were celebrated at the same time, but especially thanked Rwandans for their achievements in 28 years since Rwanda's liberation. What Rwandans have done in different capacities, be it those who were at the battlefield fighting, sacrificed their lives, and many lost their lives, and what has been done after liberating the country until now, except the bad history that led us to war and people lost their lives. There is no doubt that what has been achieved is clear and feasible, and achievements keep on increasing, which transforms the lives of Rwandans for better. Efforts that were invested are proportional to what has been achieved. I cannot hesitate to say that people have put in a lot of effort. People have worked hard and are still working hard, and they understand their assignment. We don't have a lot of means as we wish, but we use the less resources we have to achieve many things. The head of state also emphasized that the positive changes that happened in the country speak volumes, and that has been the factor for Rwanda's good reputation on the international scale in these 28 years.
Hari benshi batagiye bumva amateka y'u Rwanda uko ateye cyangwa se bashatse kwiyumva uko bashatse bitewe n'uruhande bariho cyangwa se.
Many people did not understand the true history of our country, and others interpreted our history in their own way due to their own motives, including their role in that bad history, both what has been portrayed as the truth to that history and what has been achieved, which is evident, has helped those who couldn't comprehend our history and our country understand the truth of what Rwanda tells them, because the truth corresponds to what is done on the ground and what has been achieved by the country. So that helped. What is done in Rwanda helps people to understand the truth and not be misled on how Rwanda is. With the use of technology, the community was also given a platform to raise questions and comments to President Paul Kagame, where they thanked him for the development activities that has been brought near to them. Also, on this day to celebrate 28 years of Rwanda's liberation, in different parts of the country, about 500 development projects, including model villages, roads, water, schools, electricity and more, were presented to residents.
Your Excellency, can you imagine getting cooking gas, a TV in your house? I've been following this conversation on RwandaTV. We also thank him that recently our neighbors tried to destabilize us, but we thank the Rwandan security forces for always being with us throughout. As we speak, we have enough security, we're cultivating as usual, and residents are secured.
We also thank him that recently our neighbors tried to destabilize us, but we thank the Rwandan security forces for always being with us throughout. As we speak, we have enough security. We are cultivating as usual, and residents are secured. The President of the Republic and the Commander-in-Chief of the Rwanda Defense Force emphasized that the country has built the capacity to maintain its security and sovereignty. He asserted that even those who tried to destabilize the country a few days before the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting wouldn't succeed, assuring Rwandans that the tensions between Rwanda and DRC will be resolved soon. We cannot be too busy. They tried to destabilize our country in those days, thinking we are too busy. Many even wanted the city where the meeting would be taking place to be unstable. But that wasn't possible. Even in the future, it won't be easy for them. Regarding the security of our country, we take it as a basic element and priority so that our citizens can do their work with no interruptions. As of what we are talking about of neighbors like the DRC, which we have tensions that are caused by them, in the future, the issues will be resolved in one way or another. In an interview with the Rwanda Broadcasting Agency, journalists, both local and from the region and beyond, were given time to ask different questions to President Paul Kagame, most of which were related to Rwanda's foreign policy, but mostly on the issues of insecurity in the eastern part of the DRC.
And still on regional matters, President Paul Kagame has stressed that the war between M23 rebel group and the Democratic Republic of Congo is not Rwanda's responsibility, and that the DRC's government should be the one to be held responsible for what is in its territory. Now, the Rwandan head of state has also pointed out that a political solution should be sought on as the matter continues before all else, especially the conflict. He made the remarks while speaking to RBA. Take a look.
During the interview, His Excellency Paul Kagame pointed out that what is happening in the eastern DRC is far more complicated than some want to acknowledge, and that Rwanda is being falsely accused for things the country does not have a hand in.
These FDLR are fighting alongside FARDC, those are the forces of Congo, against the M23. And then to make it worse, the UN got into the mix. They were purportedly supporting FARDC, meaning government forces, but they knew very well that these government forces of DRC are fighting together with the FDLR against M23. So you have one M23 on one side, and then you have MONUSC, government forces of Congo, and FDLR. FDLR, which should have been fought and eliminated from that situation, together with repatriating them, those who wanted to come back home, which we have done. So that's where we are. And that's why I cannot understand why the president of Congo would, in his statement to the press, say such a things as he said, because he should very well know the facts as they are, because we have even discussed these matters for a long time, well before, since he came to power and well before this crisis.
Amidst all of this, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has continued to openly support the FDLR terrorist group in its efforts to destabilize Rwanda's security, while the world watches.
on record and with the facts. DRC is supporting FDLR, and unfortunately, with the knowledge of MONUSC, the UN force on the ground, and actually that's how it happened that they were sharing our territory when it happened. But of course, the other problem has been Congo in the past, maybe, I don't know, until recently. They've been behaving like spoiled children. They cause trouble, and then in the end, they start crying foul and shouting and saying somebody is doing something wrong to them. And actually, unfortunately, the world, in some respects, some parts of the world have responded by being on the side of DRC, even when they are the ones in the wrong. This was a very big issue in the past, and we always explained it, but it seems we're not being heard. So I think, but this time around, I think they did what they did blatantly with, they made a big mistake, which everybody was able to see, creating a war that had no good grounds.
The East African community has decided to send troops into the eastern DRC to restore peace to the troubled region, and the government in Kinshasa has made it clear that Rwandan forces are not to be included. The Rwandan president also emphasized that he believes a political solution to the problem in the eastern DRC should be given priority and not conflict.
And as we move ahead to other matters, President Paul Kagame has commended the courage of Ghanaian soldiers who were posted in Rwanda back in 1994 as a part of the UN peacekeeping mission in the country, and refused to abandon the Tutsi who were being slaughtered during the fastest genocide in the record of human history, despite their colleagues abandoning and boarding planes and leaving the country. The Rwandan head of state made the comments while presenting medals of National Order of Bravery, known as Indengabaganizi, to the two Ghanaian generals. With other report with Serge Nore.
The first to be presented with the medal was retired Major General Henry Kwame Anyidoho, who was the Deputy Commander of the United Nations Assistance Mission for Rwanda in 1994. And afterwards, His Excellency Paul Kagame presented retired Major General Joseph Adinkra with his medal. Back in 1994, General Adinkra was the commanding officer of the Ghanaian battalion that was posted here in Rwanda as part of the peacekeeping mission. After being presented with his medal, retired Major General Henry Kwame Anyidoho explained why he and his countrymen had decided to stay in Rwanda when everybody else had left the country to its fate.
At the time, the United Nations in New York was contemplating the decision to close down its mission in Rwanda in view of the deteriorating security situation. I said to myself, as an African general playing a role in the mission, we cannot turn our backs on Rwanda. And I said, this is the time or the period that the Rwandese need us the most. I therefore sought and obtained approval from the government of Ghana to retain a residual force to assist in addressing the deteriorating security situation in whichever way.
The general is also calling on the world to learn from Rwanda, both during the country's darkest time and afterwards.
As we join you to celebrate 29 years of the liberation of Rwanda, I would like to congratulate you, Mr. President, and the people of Rwanda for the great feat you have chalked, for the peace you have maintained, and for the love you have and continue to share. I would like to also take this opportunity to advise the leaders of our continent, of the African continent, to work for peace at all times. Because as much as we may be speaking different languages and belong to different geographical areas, if we don't eschew divisive politics and policies, we will not get anywhere. If we take our peace for granted and lose it, no one will fix it for us. And no one was here to fix it in 1994. It is my prayer and hope that never again will this continent witness the destruction of ourselves. Indeed, it is for peace that Rwanda has been playing a leading role in deploying troops to conflict zones, no matter where.
President Paul Kagame commended the courage of the Ghanaian soldiers for being able to do what others had failed to.
Where others fled or were withdrawn by their governments, leaving Rwandans to their fate, these officers remained and continued to lead their men and women and did what was right to do. Through you, General Amanfor, I convey our deep appreciation to the government and people of Ghana for this decision. The Ghanaian battalion saved countless lives. A genocide produces no heroes. Simply doing one's duty required exceptional courage like these generals did. Most failed the test. These officers did not. Generals, we are therefore greatly honored by your return visit to our country and by the witness you continue to bear about the terrible events you witnessed here in our country.
The National Order of Bravery, known as Indengabaganizi, is awarded to an individual or group of individuals who demonstrated outstanding acts of self-sacrifice to save the life of one or more people.
An act of bravery worth celebrating indeed. Now moving on, the government of Rwanda has commended Nyaruguru residents for their collaboration with the Rwanda Defense Force in preserving security and sovereignty of the country. This was during the 28th anniversary Liberation Day ceremony in Nyaruguru district, where Rwanda's Prime Minister unveiled a gift from His Excellency Paul Kagame to the district. Ghislaine Mugwaneza now reports.
On this occasion marking the 28th anniversary of Liberation Day in Nyaruguru district, Prime Minister Edouard Ngirente officially inaugurated development projects. He has told Nyaruguru residents that all these are the gifts from His Excellency President Paul Kagame.
I know that some of the people have highlighted about that gift, but I want to talk about it again. The gift includes Munini District Hospital, the renovated GS Munini School. It also includes Munini IDP Model Village, and 48 households, including vulnerable ones, were relocated in this model village. Especially, President Paul Kagame wanted all these gifts to be near the road, and the additional gift is Huye Kibeho Munini Ngoma 66-kilometer road.
15 billion francs were spent on the infrastructure built in Munini sector, and the Ministry of Defense built the Munini IDP model village. The residents who were relocated in this model village expressed their gratitude to President Paul Kagame.
President Paul Kagame is a parent, and I'm grateful for him because he gave me a cow first, and I could drink milk. Later on, I granted a cow to another person. He really helped me, and I'm grateful because I've never lived in such a good house, but now I'm living in it.
There are currently 102 settlements across the country that were used to resettle people, including 10 model villages. Jean-Marie Vianney-Gatabazi, the Minister of Local Government, has mentioned how residents benefited from this.
The residents are no longer living in high-risk zones. It provided homes for those who did not have shelters, and they will be living a good life. The village has got many projects that will assist their welfare. Well and good to move from high-risk zones and live in better places, but they should also be taught about doing profitable projects so that they will be able to protect and preserve these villages as well as being able to provide for themselves.
The Prime Minister Edouard Ngirente has appreciated the partnership between the residents and the Rwanda Defense Force in protecting the country and preserving its sovereignty.
We all know that this development cannot be achieved if there was no security. So I would like to tell Nyaruguru residents that the government of Rwanda is grateful for the collaboration you had with the RDF in protecting the country's security and sovereignty. That collaboration was encountered in Nyaruguru district and it was productive. So keep it up.
On Liberation Day across the country, 497 development projects were officially inaugurated, including 150 economic development projects and 300 meant to improve social welfare. Shisled Mugwaneza, RTV News.
That's all the time we had for you folks. Happy Liberation Day to all Rwandans once again. I am Isabel Masozera.
My name is Sam Kalisa.
Have a good night.
Bye.